On this episode of RV Hunters.
I've got a big question mark in my mind as to what direction we should go. This is actually pretty roomy. Wow, a lot of space. Stacy, you're gonna love this one. Oh, you know, that could be nice over a long road trip to be able to mix it up.
Tim and Stacy are ready to get started with living RV life. So we are meeting them at the Tampa RV Super Show to help them find the perfect RV to fit their travel style and season of life.
Hi, I'm Tim.
I'm Stacy.
We're from Tampa Bay. We've not had a camper before,
No.
so we're out looking.
We have 6 kids between us, and they're all over the country, and we're trying to find a way to go and see them and kind of explore, see what's out there.
So we were looking around both at motorhomes and tow behinds. Not really sure what way to turn at this point, so a lot of choices out there.
He wants something large and spacious, while she wants something smaller and easy to drive. Tim is also concerned slide outs could present problems, so he's not sure he wants an RV with slides.
You know, for me, the must-haves really would be something that's comfortable. For driving, spacious. I don't want anything that I have to do a lot of setup on when we arrive somewhere, or a lot of tear down, and keep it very simple, I guess, would be my main perspective.
I'm a little bit worried about driving an RV, and I want to take some of the responsibility of driving, so Tim isn't always driving. And then we can probably go more places and go farther. So size is a big issue for me. I kind of would like a slide out. I feel like that's going to give us some more room. I'm not sure how Tim feels about that. And a decent amount of space in a kitchen area so that, you know, we can make some food and feel comfortable having a fridge that carries the food that we want.
Helping them find the perfect RV could be more difficult than we thought.
All right, well, there's some B vans over here, so let's take a look at these and see what you guys think.
I'm going to start with showing them some Class B RVs. Because these are a little bit smaller, Stacy would feel more comfortable driving them. But are they going to have the space that Tim really wants on the inside?
Wow, there's a lot of room in here too. More than I thought.
Yeah.
Oh my, there's a lot of room.
So the nice thing that I think about the B vans is, again, other than having to, you know, kind of hook and unhook to go somewhere.
Right.
You're gonna fit into parking spaces fairly easily. It's like a van.
This is just like having your own van and
Yep, and then, you know, that back part's gonna fold down into a bed, so you've got that.
lots of closet space.
Well, some.
Well,
Some. Most of these have what's called a wet bath, meaning that the bathroom and the shower are all in one area.
I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I know, I call it the shoilet. First of all,
Oh wow.
by putting enough moisture in the black tank, right, where all of your waste goes, it shouldn't stink. But the other thing is you have like chemicals that you put down in
So
there.
enzymes.
Okay.
That also, it helps to digest any waste and turn it into liquid, so when you dump the tank it all comes out. But it also mitigates any sort of smell or stink.
No, I mean there's enough room to get in here and wash up and sit down.
Shave
and
in there?
I guess where's the nozzle for the shower? Or is it this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, there you go.
Go here? Yeah.
So, okay, sure. When I was in the Navy, this is the same thing.
So the one thing that is kind of interesting with these in this particular style is if you do have something where you're going to be more outdoorsy, maybe you have a kayak or a bike or something that you want to put in, it becomes very easy to just put in through those back doors and lay in the back area. So let's look at some of the Class C's. That'll give you a better idea of kind of the space that you would possibly have in something like this. Now, I know that you're a little bit concerned about length. So yeah, we can look at what some of the different length options are in this.
Next, I'm going to show them some Class C RVs. Class Cs come in shorter overall lengths and feel easy to drive. But since they can have slide outs, they can have a significantly larger layout and living spaces. I know Stacy will love how easy a Class C feels to drive.
What do you think about how that feels from a driving perspective?
It feels okay, and I think if I could raise the seat, I don't know if there's a button for that somewhere, but I'm sure there is.
Yeah.
If I sat up a little higher, it feels a lot like the front of a minivan from what I can see out here. So that doesn't feel scary.
I'm not sure how Tim will feel about slide outs. Once I show him how much space that slide outs can create, I'm hoping he'll change his mind.
Remember the one that we were just in, right? That other van that we were just in?
Yeah.
Did not have a slide out.
Right.
It was just the van.
Right.
This one's got a full length slide that goes all the way down.
Oh, the whole length.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
Now, so this one would be a great option, like what you were saying, where eventually if you wanted to bring a grandkiddo or a kiddo along, because this can be used as sleeping space.
Okay.
And then you've got the bed there as well.
Yeah. This feels a lot more spacious.
And the other thing too is with this slide out, you could always put an inflatable mattress down or something like that too for an additional person if you needed it.
So,
How do you feel about slide outs? As far as how they hold up, do they feel safe?
Yeah, so slide outs, I mean, it is more moving parts, right? But in general, as long as they're maintained properly, they do need some maintenance, they do need some lubrication, they do need to be adjusted from time to time. As long as they're maintained properly, they're not problematic.
I know you talked about not really liking slide outs, but having the slide out gives us so much
Having a
more
slide out gives
space.
you so much more space. These are all motorized. There's going to be a switch that pulls it in and out on a motor.
It's like Transformers.
okay. So my thing about it that I'm not sure about, I mean, I do get, you know, Stacy's liking the space, but what I wonder about is when it's closed. You know, how much space do you have to walk around when it's closed? It seems almost like you couldn't even hardly get back to the back.
Yeah, so there's not a real good definitive line like to be able to kind of have an idea of where this comes in, but the majority of them where it does come in at, you do still have plenty of room to get to like the bathroom. So that's almost always accessible.
Yeah, jump on the bed this way at least.
Yeah, most likely that this bed, because this is like the slide is out right now, most likely this bed is going to somehow maybe fold up. Okay, so in a little bit we'll go look at some class A's that are the shorter length, because I know that you're concerned with length.
Right.
But one thing I want you guys to remember and consider when we're thinking about this like class C versus a class A is you can get class A's that are in that shorter length, you know, in the 20-ish, 30-foot range. But the driving experience in a class A with the really big windshield is so much different when you're wanting to really enjoy that drive, you know, especially going through just beautiful country, whether it's mountains or plains or whatever. When you have that really big windshield, it just feels so different.
One of the things that we've been talking about a lot is having workspace, because we both do some writing and you know, editing and different things, you know, on our computers and work type stuff. And I just saw there was only a place for one table in there. So that's one of the reasons why I'm not so sure about the smaller unit, but it's all such a big trade-off. A bigger unit, we might have more workspace.
Now that I've shown Tim and Stacy the Class B and C RVs, I really want for them to look at a Class A motorhome. I think with what they want in an RV, a Class A might be the perfect combination of space and comfort. But will it be too long for Stacy to feel comfortable driving it?
So let's go look at some of these class A's now and see where we're at on length on these and how Tim and Stacy feel about a class A versus some of the class C's we've been looking at.
Wow, a lot of space. Stacy, you're gonna love this one.
It's like
Wow.
home. Wow. This is huge.
So think about that this is only a 28 foot.
Why does it feel so much bigger?
Oh, look at this. They are still separate, but it's just beautiful.
So that other class C that we were looking at that was a 31 foot.
Yeah.
This is shorter than that one was as far as the length is concerned.
Okay, it doesn't feel
But
short at all.
it feels so much more open. And then for sleeping, you've got this booth dinette, but then this is actually a bunk.
Oh,
So when you're not driving, this will drop down. You can see there's the mechanical rails there. It's a push button.
Oh,
Okay.
But this will actually drop down, and then you have this space that can be used for sleeping too. So as you're traveling with kids or grandkiddos, you've got this that can be used for sleeping, your dinette that converts for sleeping, and then that back bedroom too. So it could easily sleep, 5 to 6 people in this particular model, and you're still under that 30-foot length.
It felt humongous,
And
but now it feels great after comparing it. It's got a stereo in the bedroom. And look at these cabinets and everything.
King size bed.
It's gorgeous. This is actually pretty roomy. I think this is great to be able to put it away when you're driving and take it down at night if you want it. Or
or even, you know, if you
here.
are out and it's just the two of you and you don't have the grandkids, it can just be up and out of the way, but it's an option for when you do have the grandkids.
Got it.
You take the driver's seat, I'll take the passenger seat.
You can work from the passenger seat. Look at that nice space.
Oh,
Now,
this is nice.
Yeah, one thing that's really nice about the Class A's is, Tim, you were talking about wanting to have a workspace and a place to work, is that these can be very comfortable for workspace in these seats that are up front here as well.
I can work right here easily.
Yeah, you can also, we talked about too, like the steering wheel kind of will flip up and over, but you can also get like little tables that would just sit on top of that steering wheel to be able to use that for a space for a laptop or a workspace.
Well, look at this one, has one built in.
Yeah, a little pull out that you can use for workspace.
We could put a lot of miles behind us this way without ever, you know, having to take long stops or anything. I mean,
Spot for your coffee, or your iced tea, or your margarita. Coming into this, I think we have to talk about, you know, what we're looking for. Is it just for us to go travel around, or is it for us to go travel to our kids or take our kids and grandkids with us? And so the size will make a huge difference.
yeah. Well, like Stacy said, we have 6 kids. They're in multiple states. None of them are here in Florida with us, so it's all about traveling to see them. And we've got 1 grandchild, hoping for more. And so then space is a question. How much do we want? How much can we afford? And how much can we drive down the road? So a lot of things we're looking at.
The last type of RV I want to show Tim and Stacy are travel trailers and pull-behinds. They currently do not own a vehicle with the capacity to tow anything, so that would be a large factor in considering a tow-behind model of RV.
The pull-behinds don't seem as luxurious.
They don't seem to have as many creature comforts because the thing is too is like if you're in a drivable, you're going to be in it the whole time.
Yeah.
Right? This is kind of you're going back and forth between your vehicle to this to your vehicle. So I do personally feel like the drivables do have some more of the creature comforts and things like that than the pull behinds do. So Grand Design does have one of the better, like they kind of have a little thing here, but on their construction, like how that they do the actual construction of the exterior is pretty much kind of like the top of market as far as how well it's put together from a standpoint of just the overall structure.
Okay. So what's the experience going to be like for someone pulling a pull behind like this versus like the Class A?
Yeah, so it's a lot more nerve-wracking when you're pulling a trailer. When you are like on a highway and you have a semi that maybe comes up, you know, the opposite direction of you and you get that kind of gust of wind, you really, really feel it when you've got, you know, pull behind versus when you're just drivable. You still feel it in a drivable, but it's a little bit different from a control perspective where it doesn't really feel as scary. The other thing is things like wind, right, that you have to think about. Any sort of road anomalies that can just make it a little bit more nerve-wracking. So, you know, when we talk about how long do you want to travel in a travel day, driver fatigue can be a big part of that. If you're nervous the whole time that you're behind the wheel, if you're stressed, it's very easy to become fatigued in a short amount of time, which shortens that length of time you want to be behind the wheel versus if you're not feeling as fatigued because you're not as stressed or whatever. So driving an actual drivable, even if you're towing, you know, a towed vehicle behind you, it's not a lot of length compared to the length of the vehicle that you're driving. It's a little bit easier to recover from those, you know, pushes from wind gusts or oncoming semis or something like that. Now that we've shown Tim and Stacy Class B, Class C, Class A, and pull-behind RVs, it's time for them to decide which RV best fits their style for RV life. Which one did they choose? Stay tuned to find out. What do you think that you want to look at more of as far as maybe where are you leaning?
I don't know, still maybe the smaller ones, but with the slide outs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, probably a slide out now. That's a new thing for us.
He's changed his mind.
Figured on.
Okay, so something with slide outs and something that's a drivable?
I think definitely
versus
drivable.
Yep, drivable.
Yep, I think a drivable.
Okay. So we'll go, that puts us into probably then like Class C, Class A's.
Yep.
So the flare, you've got an extra 4 foot of space, at least on the 28 foot one because this is a 24 versus that was 28 foot. And then the Flare also had a 29 foot model too, if you remember there, those, and then they went up from there. But so you've got price, the extra length, but with the Flare, you also kind of have that ability to possibly tow a vehicle behind that at some point if you wanted to.
Before we came to the show today, my biggest interest was in a Class B motorhome, but I was also kind of thinking about a pull behind. Then we got looking at the cost of a vehicle to do the pull behind, so that raised some questions. So really, walking in here today, I've got a big question mark in my mind as to what direction we should go.
So one of the craziest things is that we actually really fell in love with the Class A's, which have beautiful front windshields. I never thought that that would be something I would feel comfortable with. It gave us more space inside the rig. The view out the front looks beautiful. And yeah, so we actually fell in love with the Class A.
It really didn't take us too long to rule out the pull behinds for a lot of reasons, you know, but and I had not thought about a Class A before and hadn't been introduced to one before, but we love the panoramic view in the front and the seating, and it feels pretty spacious in the front on the Class A's. And the Class B that I thought we were going to be most interested in, we kind of veered away from that because I didn't feel like having a box over our head and all of that. So we're really kind of leaning towards the Class A at this point.
What's really nice is that he found out that the slide outs aren't so bad. So get a lot more space that way.
That is a new development for us, yeah. The slide out definitely is something I'd like to have now as well. So in terms of, you know, kind of adjusting fire here, kind of compromising on what it is we're after, I think, you know, we're both interested in the Class A now, you know, for the reasons I mentioned, but the length is still an issue, and I think we're going to have to compromise on that somehow. Some of the longer ones, they have washer and dryer.
Yeah.
Some of the shorter ones, they don't. So I think we're still looking at, you know, the actual length and drivability. So we're going to have to kind of work through that.
Right.